Okay, here we are still playing the Virgin Queen, and I've pushed through another round around. The Ottomans used their big home card to build a bunch of troops in Istanbul. Basically looking towards next turn. They're allowed to save 2 cards. They've got 2 cards in their hand, 2 big cards. They're looking at trying to recoup their losses. They might be willing to go to a peace with Spain in order to fight the Empire at this point. The Spaniards on their side? Shit, I don't remember what I did. I think they launched a 1-point siege attempt in Marseille and didn't succeed. The English held on and passed their turn. The French spent their last card attacking and capturing the Duke of Alva, destroying his forces, and then moving forward. And you can see I've got a nice little thing to fix that issue with the counters. I'll be doing that with all of the ones that have problems. A lot of them do, where they're just, too... And it's an easy solution. It's really nice that, something that easy can be fixed. The Empire was already out of cards. And that brings us over to the Protestants, who've launched a colonial expedition. Their intention here is an attempt to navigate around the world. They've got a card to give themselves a bonus on that. They've sent their best navigator out. They're going to see if they can make the +2 victory point circumnavigation. It's a lot of cards to spend for it, but they get to implant a colony, and it just seems like a neat idea. And the Ottomans indeed passed. The Spaniards captured Marseille, and along with it, Henry III, and he needs a little bit of medical attention to boot. And really everybody else is done except for the Dutch, who sailed through successfully with their experienced pilot to the South Pacific, dropping someone off in Sumatra. It looks pretty likely that they're going to get that circumnavigation. Well, everybody's done now. The Spaniards held off on what they were doing. They forgot to play one of their treasures, so extended their last turn. I'm going to make little errors like this a lot in a game like this. It's new to me. It's just part of the living, And let's see, the English actually jumped in and took a turn, sailing Hawkins down here to do some piracy, and they ended up getting another treasure under him. So they're going to be pulling 2 in for him. They're going to want to probably use him to build boats. The game's going to maybe take an interesting turn in turn 3. That's what it looks like. So that's where we want it to go. Other than that, the Dutch decided not to continue with their voyage. Instead, they're going to land Van Noort here at Sumatra. Why not hold on to the card, see what happens next turn? I want the circumnavigation, there's no question, but I don't think anybody else is really close to it. And if the English show that they seem to be, they'd have to really make a lot of ground one way or the other. I've got enough points to finish it up this turn, so I can hold off and see about that. All right, well, I guess we're done with the turn, though, because everybody's going to pass after that. And flip this over. I've got another one over here, but whatever. Okay. So now we're at the winter phase, and I'll take care of some of the, bookkeeping type stuff, and, well, come back after we see the marriages, patronage, stuff like that. Okay, so this is the positioning after everything's kind of returned to bases. Like I said, the Protestants moved back to Sumatra. And then elsewhere, that's kind of odd because they don't have a port. That doesn't seem to be a requirement as far as I can tell. I didn't look it up too carefully. Anyway, we've seen most of the countries repositioning their leaders back at their capitals. Some of them pushing forces, like the Protestants are, to cover other fortresses, just to make sure if things go terribly wrong, they've got some protection there. They can always pick those up, well, pick one of them up on their spring redeployment, essentially, by starting there. Those are both decent places to start for them. So in the Royal Marriage, I rolled a 5, which with the bonuses, another 4 points, puts things at a 9. Last minute cancellation. That means the marriage just didn't happen, so we're going to see aging here. Now, Leicester doesn't have a problem, but Don Carlos is gone. Darnley is gone. Philip and William both drop down in value. Mary drops in value. Charles is okay, and Elizabeth drops in value. So we got a couple of these males who have dropped out of the competition and are no longer attractive at this point. Probably, in the case of Darnley marrying someone else, Don Carlos, God knows, he probably gets himself killed or something. Okay, so let's see. Beyond that, we got some more things to do in the turn. The patronage table, and then the victory point awards. Remember, the Germans are going to get the Master of Central Europe card. I'll discard these and come back in a bit. In terms of the sciences and the patronage, well, the French artist ran off with the money. D ended up coming back. Yeah, it's terrible. I'm back to smoking very limited amounts, but I'm worried I might end up getting addicted again. I'm down to a few smokes a day now. But still, there's the risk. D ended up using already the bonus that they had for the science one and took the cryptography, which will give him an espionage advantage. Now, it was a hard choice there. Plantations might be very appealing to them too, because the English have both their colonies on the board. It's less appealing, though. Plantations gives you a free colony on every expedition, and it gives you +1 to your colony rolls each turn. The colony rolls each turn is appealing, but not getting the free placements, well, it's kind of like, it's not quite as useful. He could have taken a victory point for that. The guy who did take a victory point, though, were the Germans with Mercator. They picked up another one. You can see they got another counter over there, I guess, maybe. But the biggie, they're now up to 17 points. If they are, as we suspect, having insight into their minds, taking a balanced position, they've got 4 extra victory points. They are in that dominance position. If this was, well, if this was 2 turns later, they could declare a win at this point. They can't yet, though, and people are a little scared of how many points they have right now. And the Turks are more than happy to get let out of certain obligations to try to push that back at the Germans. All right, is there anything else here? Victory point awards for control of Paris and Central Europe. Wow, there's another one. Okay, so the French get a turn 2 Paris marker. You gotta find that. There it is. This one actually can only be worth 1 victory point. Later in the game, they can be worth 2. And move the French up a point, but much scarier. We have to find that Central Europe award, wherever that is. Well, I'll find it and give it to them. But they're going to be up a point for that. Anyway, we see the net effect of that. They're up to the 18 points. They got yet another counter there. And, well, nobody can win right now, so we're moving to a new turn. I'm going to connect this to the last video, I think, because it's a little shorter. And, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, let's load this up as a separate one. Good enough. Up it goes.